Rain hammered the glass towers along the river Aire while Leeds slept beneath fog and neon reflections. Just after midnight, police sirens tore through the financial district, stopping outside an riverside apartment building known for housing lawyers, investors, and politicians who preferred privacy. Residents watched nervously from their balconies as detectives disappeared inside the penthouse belonging to Martin Holbrook, a respected property developer with deep connections to the city council. The smell of gunpowder lingered in the apartment. Martin's body lay beside the kitchen island, one hand stretched toward a shattered phone glowing against the marble floor. Blood crept between white tiles while jazz music played softly from hidden speakers. There were no signs of forced entry. No overturned furniture. No struggle. Whoever killed him had walked in calmly, spoken to him, and pulled the trigger without hesitation. Detective Inspector Rowan Keir studied the scene in silence while forensic officers photographed every inch of the penthouse. Martin's expensive watch remained on his wrist. His wallet sat untouched beside an open bottle of whiskey. It did not feel like robbery. It felt personal. Then a young officer approached Rowan holding a tablet. "Security pulled footage from the lobby," he said. The grainy recording showed a woman leaving the building 4 minutes before the emergency call reached police dispatch. Her face remained hidden beneath dark curls and the collar of a crimson coat. She moved without panic, walking through the lobby with the confidence of someone who already knew nobody would stop her. Rowan replayed the footage 3 times. "Can we identify her?" The officer hesitated. "Not yet. But one of the patrol guys thinks he's seen her before." Before Rowan could respond, another detective crossed the apartment carrying Martin's phone records. His expression tightened immediately. "Last outgoing call was made seconds before death," he said. "Number belongs to a woman named Evelyn Voss." The room suddenly fell quiet. Even Rowan recognized the name. Across Leeds, Evelyn Voss owned a nightclub called Nocturne, a place whispered about more than discussed openly. Politicians, footballers, businessmen, and criminals all passed through its velvet doors after midnight. Officially, nothing illegal had ever been linked to the club. Unofficially, detectives mentioned Evelyn's name whenever women disappeared, witnesses changed stories, or investigations collapsed without explanation. Yet nobody could ever prove anything. Hours later, journalist Aaron Doyle stood outside the police barricade with freezing hands wrapped around a paper coffee cup. Most reporters treated the murder like another wealthy man dying behind locked doors, but Aaron noticed something strange in the officers' behavior. They avoided cameras. They whispered constantly. One detective even ordered photographers farther away from the entrance after spotting reporters recording conversations. Aaron's instincts told him the case terrified them. A crime scene technician exited the building carrying sealed evidence bags. Aaron caught a glimpse of the red-coat woman frozen on a monitor inside the van before officers blocked the view. The image lasted barely a second, but something about her calm posture unsettled him. Later that morning, Aaron visited an old contact inside Leeds police headquarters. The exhausted clerk nervously searched restricted files while glancing toward the office door every few seconds. "You didn't get this from me," the man whispered. He slid several sealed reports across the desk. Aaron opened the first file slowly. Evelyn Voss. Her name appeared repeatedly beside missing persons investigations, corruption allegations, narcotics operations, and unexplained death stretching back almost 10 years. Entire sections had been blacked out. Witness statements were missing. Evidence logs had vanished. Then the clerk suddenly paled. Someone higher in the system had remotely accessed Martin Holbrook's phone records. Aaron watched in stunned silence as Evelyn's number disappeared from the official call history completely entirely. By the following evening, Aaron Doyle could not stop thinking about the deleted phone record. Someone inside Leeds police had erased Evelyn Voss from the investigation within minutes, which meant either fear or loyalty controlled the department. Aaron had spent years reporting on corruption, gang violence, and political scandals, but this case felt different. Nobody spoke openly. Even experienced detectives looked nervous whenever Evelyn's name surfaced. Rain drifted across the city as Aaron wandered through neighborhoods most reporters ignored. Leeds looked polished near the financial district, yet only a few streets away stood abandoned pubs, shuttered factories, and alleyways ruled by silent agreements between criminals and desperate people. Old contacts reluctantly shared fragments of stories about women who built empires there without ever firing weapons themselves. One former bookmaker described women who manipulated powerful men instead of threatening them. Another spoke about nightclub hostesses who secretly arranged drug routes and debt collections while gangs took the blame publicly. Aaron slowly realized the city's underworld had changed years ago. Violence still existed, but information had become far more valuable than knives or guns. That realization led him to Selena Graves. Officially, Selena operated a luxury beauty clinic near the city center. Unofficially, she was whispered about inside gambling dens, private clubs, and police interviews that mysteriously disappeared from evidence lockers. Years earlier, she had worked as an escort for wealthy clients visiting Leeds from London and Manchester. According to rumors, Selena survived by secretly recording conversations with politicians, businessmen, and gangsters who underestimated her intelligence. Eventually, she stopped selling herself. Instead, she sold silence. Aaron first saw her leaving a restaurant near Brigate just after midnight. Selena moved through the street with calculated elegance, wrapped in a black coat while two bodyguards followed several steps behind. Her beauty remained striking, but her eyes looked permanently cold, like someone who trusted absolutely nobody anymore. Aaron approached carefully. "Miss Graves." She paused without surprise. "You're the journalist asking questions about Martin Holbrook," she said quietly. Aaron tried hiding his reaction. "You know about the murder already. In Leeds, important men die every week. Most people simply pretend not to notice." Before Aaron could continue, Selena stepped closer. "Be careful chasing stories about women in this city," she whispered. "Men disappear loudly. Women disappear quietly." Then she walked away into the rain. Hours later, across the industrial outskirts of Leeds, Evelyn Voss entered an abandoned textile warehouse beside the canal. Broken windows rattled in the wind while machinery sat rusting beneath hanging shadows. A man waited near the loading bay smoking nervously beneath a single yellow light. "You shouldn't have contacted me," Evelyn said coldly. The man handed her a small envelope. "Things are getting dangerous again. Holbrook wasn't supposed to happen yet." Evelyn's expression darkened instantly. "Did anyone see you?" "No. But people are talking about the old network again." For several seconds, neither of them spoke. Then Evelyn quietly reached inside her coat, revealing the outline of a pistol beneath the fabric. The man immediately stepped backward in fear. "You need to disappear," she warned. "Tonight." Meanwhile, Aaron returned to his apartment exhausted and frustrated. He expected another sleepless night sorting notes and recordings, but a thick brown package waited outside his door with no sender listed anywhere. Inside were photographs of missing women connected to unsolved investigations across Leeds. Most looked terrified. The final photograph made Aaron's stomach tighten. A young woman stood outside Nocturne nightclub beneath falling rain. The timestamp showed it had been taken only 2 days earlier. Tucked beneath the photographs was a handwritten note formed from clipped newspaper letters. They were never missing. Aaron read the sentence while thunder rolled beyond his apartment windows. On the back of one image, someone had written an address near the river docks together with a name he had never heard before, Cassandra Vale. He reached for his phone to call his editor, but stopped after noticing movement outside. A woman wearing a dark hood stood watching his building. Seconds later, she disappeared into the fog before Aaron reached the window. The address written behind the photograph led Aaron Doyle toward the river docks the following night. Fog drifted across the industrial streets while music pulsed faintly from somewhere beneath the city. After hours questioning bartenders, taxi drivers, and nervous security guards, Aaron finally uncovered the truth hidden beneath Leeds' polished nightlife. The photographs connected to a private underground club called Elysium. Officially, the location did not exist. Hidden beneath a luxury casino near the waterfront, the club catered to politicians, businessmen, foreign investors, and criminals willing to spend enormous amounts for privacy. Guests entered through a concealed elevator guarded by silent women wearing black suits and earpieces. Phones were surrendered immediately. Cameras were forbidden. Every corridor smelled of expensive perfume, whiskey, and fear. Aaron managed access using forged press credentials borrowed from an old contact. The moment the elevator doors opened underground, he understood why powerful men protected places like this. Velvet curtains covered dim hallways glowing red beneath crystal chandeliers. Women moved elegantly through crowded lounges while wealthy clients drank beside poker tables and private booths hidden behind tinted glass. Yet beneath the luxury atmosphere lurked something deeply unsettling. Nobody laughed naturally. Nobody relaxed. Conversations stopped whenever certain women crossed the room. One name dominated whispered discussions. Cassandra Vale. Aaron spotted her almost immediately. She stood near the center balcony overlooking the club floor, dressed in a silver gown that contrasted sharply against the darkness surrounding her. Tall and composed, Cassandra barely needed bodyguards because fear already protected her. Men twice her size lowered their eyes whenever she passed. Women obeyed instantly. Aaron discreetly photographed her from across the lounge. Then he noticed another face watching Cassandra carefully. Mia Lawson could not have been older than 22. She danced on the club stage beneath soft blue lighting, yet her expression lacked the emptiness Aaron expected from performers in places like Elysium. Fear constantly distracted her movements. Twice she glanced toward Cassandra's balcony before quickly looking away. After her performance ended, Mia disappeared through a private hallway behind the stage. Moments later, Selena Graves entered the same corridor. Aaron followed carefully. Behind the club's glamour sat narrow service hallways lined with storage rooms and locked offices. Aaron stopped beside a half-open doorway where muffled voices echoed inside. "You're getting too nervous," Selena said calmly. Mia's voice trembled. "Because girls keep disappearing." "They ran away." "No," Mia whispered. "They vanished after meeting Cassandra." Silence filled the room briefly. Then Selena's tone softened almost maternally. "Mia, listen to me carefully. You wanted protection, and I gave it to you. Without me, you'd still be dancing in drug bars for violent men. I pulled you out of that life. You pulled me into another one." Selena slowly approached her. "All you need to do is keep watching Cassandra. Tell me who she meets, what she moves through the docks, which politicians visit her privately. Then this ends." Mia looked close to tears. "And if she finds out?" Selena gently brushed hair from Mia's face with chilling tenderness. "She won't." Aaron felt something deeply manipulative beneath Selena's comforting voice. She spoke like a protector while cornering Mia emotionally from every direction. Gratitude, fear, dependence, Selena controlled them all expertly. Suddenly footsteps echoed outside. Aaron quickly retreated behind stacked crates as Cassandra herself entered the hallway accompanied by two women in dark suits. The atmosphere shifted instantly. Even Selena straightened slightly. Cassandra studied Mia carefully. "You danced beautifully tonight," she said softly. Mia forced a weak smile. "Thank you." Cassandra stepped closer until only inches separated them. "You know what I admire most about loyalty?" she asked quietly. "It keeps people alive." Nobody moved. Then Cassandra unexpectedly smiled and turned toward Selena. "Walk with me." The two women disappeared down the corridor while Mia remained frozen in place, struggling to breathe. Aaron waited until the hallway emptied before approaching her carefully. "You need to leave this place," he whispered. Mia stared at him in horror. "You don't understand." Before Aaron could answer, his phone vibrated with an incoming message from an unknown number. It contained only one sentence. "Cassandra already knows about the spy." A second message arrived immediately afterward. Selena told her everything. Aaron Doyle barely slept after the messages exposing Selena's betrayal. By sunrise, he sat inside his apartment surrounded by photographs, police files, and notes connecting missing women to Elysium. One detail kept resurfacing repeatedly beside Evelyn Voss's name. Lily Voss. Unlike Evelyn, Lily appeared almost nowhere in public records after 2018. Her social accounts vanished. Tax records stopped abruptly. Even hospital databases showed nothing beyond a final emergency admission linked to assault injuries years earlier. Rumors claimed she testified against violent gang members connected to Leeds trafficking operations before disappearing completely. Most people believed she was dead. Yet no body had ever been discovered. Aaron spent the afternoon interviewing retired officers and former nightclub workers who remembered the Voss sisters before Evelyn became feared across Leeds. According to one bartender, Evelyn once laughed constantly while Lily followed her everywhere like a shadow. They grew up inside government housing near Holbeck after losing their mother young. Evelyn protected Lily from abusive men, street gangs, and eventually the criminal world itself. Everything changed after Lily agreed to testify. A retired detective named Malcolm Reeve finally agreed to meet Aaron inside a deserted cafe near the train station. Rain tapped softly against the windows while Malcolm nervously stirred untouched tea. "You're digging into graves better left closed," he muttered. Aaron leaned forward. "What happened to Lily?" Malcolm hesitated before answering. "She witnessed a transport operation near the docks. Young girls moved through warehouses under protection from people with money and connections. Lily gave statements naming gang members, businessmen, even officers inside Leeds police." Aaron felt cold suddenly. What happened after she testified? Malcolm laughed bitterly. Protection disappeared. Evidence vanished. Witnesses changed stories overnight. He lowered his voice further. Somebody leaked Lily's location. For several seconds, only the rain filled the silence. Malcolm explained that armed men attacked the safe house holding Lily 2 nights before trial proceedings began. 2 officers died during the ambush. Lily disappeared before backup arrived. Official reports claimed gang members murdered her and destroyed the body somewhere outside the city. But Malcolm never believed it. "Evelyn blamed the department," he whispered. "After that, she changed completely." That evening, Aaron drove toward Nocturne nightclub hoping to confront Evelyn directly. The club remained closed, hidden behind dark windows and silent security doors. He waited nearly an hour before Evelyn finally emerged wearing a long black coat beneath the freezing wind. "You shouldn't follow me," she said without surprise. Aaron stepped closer carefully. "Your sister testified against traffickers." Evelyn's expression hardened instantly. "You know nothing about Lily." "I know someone inside police betrayed her." For the first time since meeting her, Evelyn looked emotionally exposed instead of dangerous. Pain flashed briefly across her face before disappearing behind cold restraint. "They promised to protect her," she whispered. Men in suits stood beside cameras talking about justice while they sold information behind closed doors. Aaron watched her hands trembling slightly. "She was 19, Evelyn continued quietly. "Lily believed telling the truth mattered." "What happened to her?" Evelyn looked away toward the empty street. "If I knew that answer, half this city would already be burning." Before Aaron could respond, Evelyn suddenly walked back toward her car and drove away into the darkness. Yet something about her grief unsettled him deeply. For the first time, Aaron questioned whether Evelyn Voss truly belonged beside monsters like Cassandra Vale. Hours later, Aaron returned home and searched through the anonymous package again. Hidden beneath the photographs, he discovered a tiny memory card taped inside the cardboard lining. His pulse quickened as he inserted it into his laptop. Static crackled through the speakers. Then a frightened female voice whispered, "If Aaron Doyle finds this, tell Evelyn I'm still alive." Aaron froze instantly. The audio file timestamp showed it had been recorded only 3 weeks earlier. Outside his apartment, a car engine idled briefly before disappearing into the rain-soaked street. The recording of Lily's voice haunted Aaron Doyle for days. He replayed it repeatedly while tracing every clue connected to Cassandra Vale, Elysium, and the women operating beneath Leeds' polished surface. The deeper he investigated, the more he realized the city's criminal empire extended far beyond trafficking or blackmail. Hidden behind luxury apartments and private investment firms existed an enormous laundering operation moving drugs and dirty money through northern England. And Cassandra sat directly in the center of it. Aaron's search led him into expensive penthouses overlooking the River Aire where politicians hosted secret parties alongside cartel intermediaries and wealthy businessmen. Cocaine moved quietly through private elevators while forged financial records traveled between offshore accounts controlled by shell companies. Most operations never touched the streets directly. Women inside Cassandra's network handled transportation, bribery, and surveillance with frightening efficiency. Nobody raised suspicion because nobody expected them to. One evening, Aaron followed a courier into a glass tower near Leeds dock. From across the street, he photographed several familiar figures entering the building, including a city councillor publicly campaigning against organized crime. 30 minutes later, Cassandra herself arrived wearing a cream-colored coat while armed security escorted her inside. Aaron watched from the rain with growing unease. Everywhere he looked, powerful men surrounded Cassandra willingly. Meanwhile, Mia Lawson struggled to survive inside Elysium. After learning Cassandra knew about the spying, Mia expected immediate punishment or disappearance. Instead, Cassandra became strangely affectionate. She requested Mia personally serve drinks during private meetings and often kept her close during evenings inside the club. At first, the kindness felt almost protective compared to Selena's cold manipulation. Then the psychological games began. Cassandra started controlling how Mia dressed, spoke, and interacted with others. She criticized her appearance gently at first, then relentlessly. If Mia smiled incorrectly, Cassandra noticed. If she spoke too confidently, Cassandra withdrew emotionally for days afterward. Mia slowly lost the ability to trust her own thoughts. One night after the club closed, Cassandra invited her into a private penthouse suite above the casino. "You're frightened of me," Cassandra said softly while pouring wine. Mia avoided eye contact. "People disappear around you." Cassandra smiled faintly. "People disappear around everyone in this city. The difference is honesty." She approached Mia slowly. "Selena lies to people because she needs control. Men lie because they need power. But me." Cassandra gently touched Mia's chin. "I simply survive." For a dangerous moment, Mia felt herself emotionally pulled toward her despite the fear. Cassandra understood loneliness perfectly. She knew how to make damaged people feel seen before quietly breaking them apart. That was how she controlled everyone. Across Leeds, Selena Graves began unraveling. Anonymous leaks continued reaching journalists and investigators, exposing hidden businesses tied to her blackmail operations. 2 corrupt accountants vanished within 48 hours. Police raided properties previously protected for years. Selena trusted almost nobody anymore, constantly changing phones, drivers, and meeting locations. Inside her beauty clinic office, she confronted one of her assistants violently after suspecting betrayal. "Who's talking?" Selena demanded. The terrified woman shook uncontrollably. "I swear I don't know anything." Selena slammed a glass against the wall beside her. "Someone is feeding information to Aaron Doyle." Her paranoia worsened after discovering hidden surveillance photos taken outside her apartment building. For the first time in years, Selena looked genuinely afraid. She began sleeping in different locations nightly while carrying a handgun constantly beneath designer coats. Yet despite everything, she continued manipulating Mia from afar. Late one evening, Selena secretly contacted her through a disposable phone. "You need to keep watching Cassandra," she insisted. Mia nearly broke down. "She already knows." "No," Selena whispered sharply. "She suspects. That's different. She's destroying me." Selena's voice softened again. "You think I wanted this life for you? I'm trying to save you." But Mia finally understood the truth. Selena only protected people she could still use. Hours later, Selena returned to her luxury apartment overlooking the city skyline. Exhaustion covered her face as she stepped from the elevator carrying groceries and confidential files. The hallway remained silent except for distant traffic below. She reached her door slowly. Something felt wrong immediately. The apartment lights glowed beneath the frame even though she distinctly remembered leaving them off earlier that morning. Selena froze with trembling breath before carefully reaching inside her handbag for the pistol. Then her phone vibrated. Unknown number. One message appeared. "You should have stopped lying." Selena barely touched the door handle before the explosion tore through the entire floor. The explosion shook central Leeds hard enough to rattle windows several streets away. Flames burst through the upper floors of Selina Graves's apartment tower while terrified residents flooded into the rain below. By the time firefighters controlled the blaze, rumors had already spread through the city's underworld. Selina was dead. But the rumors were wrong. Aaron Doyle learned the truth the following morning through a frightened hospital employee who owed him old favors. Selina had survived the explosion, though barely. Half her body suffered severe burns, and shrapnel from the blast remained lodged near her spine. Officially, police denied she existed inside the hospital at all, which meant somebody wanted her hidden. Aaron arrived at St. James's University Hospital just before midnight. 2 armed officers guarded a restricted intensive care room on the 4th floor, both men visibly tense whenever doctors approached. Aaron recognized one of them immediately from corruption allegations buried years earlier inside internal police complaints. The officer blocked his path. No visitors. Aaron lowered his voice carefully. "Tell Selina Doyle is here. She asked for me." The man hesitated slightly. That hesitation confirmed everything. Minutes later, Aaron entered the dim hospital room alone. Machines beeped softly beside Selina's bed while rain streaked against dark windows overlooking Leeds. Bandages covered much of her face and arms. One eye remained swollen shut. The confident woman who once controlled powerful men through fear now looked terrifyingly fragile. Selina spoke without opening her eyes. "You should have stayed away from this story." Aaron pulled a chair closer. "Who bombed your apartment?" A weak smile crossed her damaged face. "When people panic, they erase liabilities." "Was it Cassandra?" Selina slowly shook her head. "No. Cassandra doesn't make final decisions." Aaron leaned forward instantly. "Then who does?" For several seconds, Selina struggled to breathe through the pain. When she finally spoke again, her voice sounded hollow. "The Velvet Circle." The name lingered heavily inside the room. Selina explained that the Circle operated quietly across Leeds for years through elite clubs, financial networks, escort agencies, and political blackmail operations. Most members came from violent or abusive pasts and learned early that survival depended on manipulation rather than force. Together, they built an organization almost impossible to expose because respectable society never suspected women controlled it. "Men created the demand," Selina whispered painfully. "We simply learned how to own it." Aaron recorded everything carefully. "Who belongs to the Circle?" Selina closed her eyes. "Traffickers. Lawyers. Wives of politicians. Women everyone overlooks." She swallowed painfully before continuing. "Cassandra manages transportation and enforcement. I handled leverage. Others controlled judges, banks, police contacts. And Evelyn Voss." For the first time, genuine emotion crossed Selina's face. She was different. Aaron watched her carefully. "Different how?" Selina's breathing grew uneven. Years ago, Evelyn tried tearing the Circle apart after Lily disappeared. She stole records, threatened clients, even planned to expose officers protecting trafficking routes. Selina coughed weakly. "That's why people fear her now. She knows where bodies are buried." Aaron struggled processing the revelation. "So Evelyn isn't loyal to them?" "She used to be." Selina stared toward the ceiling lights. Then her sister vanished. Suddenly footsteps echoed outside the hospital room. One of the officers glanced through the glass nervously before speaking into his radio. Selina noticed immediately. "They know I'm talking," she whispered. The lights abruptly flickered overhead. Then darkness swallowed the room completely. Machines shut down. Hallway alarms erupted somewhere beyond the door while terrified voices echoed through the hospital. Aaron stood instantly, reaching for his phone light. "Selina." No answer came. Only ragged breathing. Then even that stopped. Seconds later, emergency backup generators activated throughout the floor. The room returned beneath harsh white light. Selina Graves lay motionless against the bed, her throat darkened by a thin line of blood. Aaron stumbled backward in horror as officers rushed inside pretending confusion. "What happened?" one demanded. Aaron stared at them furiously. She was murdered. But both officers exchanged cold looks. One spoke carefully. You were alone when we entered, Mr. Doyle. Selina Graves's death changed everything. By morning, police statements described her as a tragic victim of the apartment explosion whose injuries proved fatal overnight. Aaron Doyle's presence inside the hospital vanished entirely from official reports. Security footage from the 4th floor mysteriously disappeared. Even the officers guarding Selina denied seeing him. Someone powerful was cleaning the story in real time. Terrified yet obsessed, Aaron returned repeatedly to Lily Voss's hidden recording. Beneath the frightened message, he noticed faint background noises previously ignored, distant church bells, barking dogs, and the rumble of freight trains passing somewhere rural. After hours comparing rail schedules and village maps outside Leeds, one location finally matched perfectly. A nearly abandoned farming community near Rothwell. Aaron drove there under heavy rain late the following evening. Narrow country roads twisted through dark fields while fog swallowed isolated houses one by one. The address he uncovered led to an aging farmhouse hidden beyond dead trees and rusted fencing. No lights appeared inside except a faint glow upstairs. Aaron approached cautiously. Before he could knock, a woman's voice called from inside. You shouldn't have come alone. The door opened slowly. For several seconds, Aaron struggled recognizing her. Lily Voss looked nothing like the smiling girl shown in old photographs. Years of fear had hollowed her face and sharpened every movement into nervous survival instincts. Faint scars crossed her wrists. Her blonde hair hung unevenly around exhausted eyes that constantly searched windows and shadows. Yet she was alive. Aaron stepped inside quickly as Lily locked the door behind him. They'll kill you if they followed, she whispered. The farmhouse smelled of dust, medicine, and stale cigarette smoke. Curtains remained permanently closed despite the darkness outside. Lily clearly lived like someone expecting armed men through the door every night. Aaron spoke carefully. Evelyn thought you were dead. Pain crossed Lily's face immediately. She needed to believe that. For the next hour, Lily slowly revealed the truth hidden beneath years of rumors and lies. Before disappearing, she worked inside the Velvet Circle as a hostess moving wealthy clients through clubs and private events. At first, she believed the organization simply managed escorts and blackmail operations targeting corrupt men. Then she discovered the trafficking network. Girls moved through warehouse routes protected by police officers, lawyers, and businessmen who ensured investigations disappeared before reaching courtrooms. Whenever victims resisted, they vanished permanently. Lily eventually began secretly recording client meetings and financial transactions, hoping evidence could expose everyone involved. But I was stupid, she whispered shakily. I thought the police wanted the truth. Aaron listened silently while rain battered the farmhouse windows. The night before my testimony, someone leaked the safe house address, Lily continued. Men came with guns. Officers died trying to stop them. Her breathing trembled violently. Evelyn got me out before they reached the building. Aaron stared at her carefully. She saved you. Lily nodded slowly. She made herself look loyal to the circle so they'd stop hunting me openly. Everything people say about Evelyn, the violence, the corruption, the murders, most of it started after she buried herself inside their world to keep me hidden. For the first time, Aaron fully understood the tragedy consuming both sisters. Evelyn sacrificed her own humanity to protect Lily. Yet the cost destroyed them anyway. Near midnight, headlights suddenly appeared outside the farmhouse. Lily instantly froze in terror while Aaron moved toward the window cautiously. 2 black vehicles rolled slowly through the gate before stopping near the barn. They found me, Lily whispered. Aaron turned sharply. Who? But Lily no longer listened. Years of paranoia overwhelmed her completely as she reached beneath the kitchen counter and pulled out a revolver with trembling hands. You need to leave now. Not until you tell me who runs the circle. Lily's face drained of color. For several horrifying seconds, she remained silent. Then she finally whispered one name. A loud crash interrupted her instantly. The farmhouse lights exploded into darkness as armed figures surrounded the property outside. Darkness swallowed the farmhouse while gunfire shattered the windows. Aaron Doyle dropped behind the kitchen table as glass exploded across the floor. Outside, armed figures spread through the fields using flashlights and silencers, moving with terrifying coordination. Lily Voss stood frozen near the counter, clutching the revolver with shaking hands. "They're circle cleaners," she whispered. "They erase problems." Another bullet tore through the wall inches above her head. Aaron grabbed Lily and dragged her toward the back hallway as footsteps thundered across the porch outside. The farmhouse had become a death trap within seconds. Somewhere upstairs, wood splintered beneath heavy boots. "Is there another exit?" Aaron shouted. Lily nodded frantically toward the cellar door. They escaped through underground storage tunnels leading behind the property moments before armed men stormed the kitchen. Rain hammered the countryside as Aaron and Lily disappeared into dark fields beyond the barn. Neither stopped running until distant police sirens echoed somewhere near the main road. By sunrise, the attack had already vanished from official news reports. Local authorities described the farmhouse incident as an abandoned property damaged by trespassers. Witness statements disappeared. Officers refused interviews. Yet despite the silence, something irreversible had already begun. The leaks were spreading. Over the next 48 hours, recordings connected to the Velvet Circle flooded journalists, online forums, and independent media outlets across northern England. Hidden audio exposed politicians discussing payoffs beside traffickers. Surveillance footage showed detectives escorting drug shipments through Leeds docks. Financial documents linked respected businessmen to offshore accounts funding illegal operations hidden beneath charities and luxury companies. Public outrage exploded instantly. Protesters flooded Leeds city centre demanding arrests while riots erupted outside police stations accused of protecting organised crime. Several officials resigned overnight. One magistrate was found dead inside a hotel room before investigators could question him publicly. Fear spread faster than truth. And through the chaos, Cassandra Vale began eliminating witnesses. 3 women connected to Elysium disappeared within 2 days. A former accountant tied to Circle Finances was discovered hanging beneath a motorway bridge outside Bradford. Mia Lawson vanished entirely after sending Aaron a single terrified message begging for help. Every surviving witness understood the same horrifying reality. Someone was cleaning the network before it collapsed completely. Aaron spent sleepless nights moving between safe locations while secretly publishing evidence through independent reporters beyond Leeds. Yet one mystery still haunted him more than any other. Who truly controlled the Velvet Circle? Lily refused answering directly after the farmhouse attack, terrified even mentioning the name aloud. Evelyn remained impossible to contact. Meanwhile, Cassandra operated openly despite the growing chaos consuming the city. Then Aaron finally discovered the connection by accident. Inside leaked financial records from a charity foundation. One signature repeatedly authorized transfers between shell companies linked to trafficking routes and political bribes. The name attached belonged to someone almost universally admired across Yorkshire. Marianne Whitmore. Aaron stared at her photograph in disbelief. For years, Marianne appeared constantly on television campaigns supporting abused women, homeless shelters, and rehabilitation programs for trafficking victims. Wealthy donors praised her compassion publicly. Politicians attended her charity galas. Newspapers called her one of Leeds' most influential philanthropists. She had hidden in plain sight the entire time. The realization sickened him. Marianne did not merely profit from suffering. She built an empire by presenting herself as its solution. Late that evening, Aaron finally received a message from Evelyn containing only an address beneath the old railway arches near Holbeck. He arrived cautiously just before midnight to find Evelyn waiting beside an abandoned repair garage illuminated by flickering streetlights. She looked exhausted for the first time. "You know about Marianne now," Evelyn said quietly. Aaron nodded slowly. "Lily tried telling me before the attack." For several moments, neither spoke. Then Evelyn stepped closer. "Marianne owns judges, police commanders, businessmen, everyone important. If she falls, this city tears itself apart. She already destroyed it." Pain crossed Evelyn's face briefly. "You still don't understand what she's capable of." Aaron studied her carefully. Help me expose her. Evelyn looked toward the empty streets surrounding them as if silently measuring whether survival remained possible anymore. Finally, she reached inside her coat and handed Aaron a flash drive. This contains circle records, she whispered. Names, payments, transport routes. Enough to bury Marianne forever. Aaron accepted it carefully. What happens after this? Evelyn gave a faint, tragic smile. Most likely. She glanced toward the darkness beyond the railway arches. I die before morning. The flash drive Evelyn Voss handed over felt heavier than it should have. Inside it lay the architecture of an entire hidden empire, bank transfers routed through charity fronts, encrypted call logs between judges and traffickers, transport manifests linking Elysium to warehouses across northern England, and recordings of political figures negotiating protection in exchange for silence. Aaron Doyle knew instantly that releasing it would not just end careers. It would collapse institutions. For the first time, truth felt like something that could burn a city down. They met Lily 2 hours later inside an abandoned storage unit near the railway lines. She looked worse than before, eyes hollow, hands trembling constantly, reacting to every passing sound as if it carried gunfire. Evelyn stood at a distance from her sister, tension filling the silence between them like an old wound that never healed properly. We should release everything tonight, Aaron said quietly. Lily shook her head immediately. If Marianne still has control over police channels, we won't survive the first hour after upload. Evelyn didn't speak at first. Her gaze remained fixed on Lily, unreadable and heavy with years of buried conflict. You don't get to decide survival anymore, Evelyn finally said. Lily flinched. I survived because I listened to you once. And because of that, I lost everything else, Evelyn replied coldly, though pain flickered beneath her voice. Aaron stepped between them. We don't have time for this. Silence returned, but it was fractured now. Old resentment between the sisters began surfacing. Accusations never spoken aloud, memories of choices made in panic, sacrifices disguised as protection. Lily revealed she had once tried escaping on her own before Evelyn intercepted her and forced her deeper into hiding under different identities. Evelyn admitted she had erased parts of Lily's digital footprint to keep her alive, even if it meant destroying her freedom. You made me a ghost, Lily whispered. I made you breathe, Evelyn answered. The words landed like knives. Aaron watched them carefully, realizing neither sister was fully innocent nor fully guilty. Survival had rewritten them both in different languages, one of fear, one of control. Before the argument could escalate further, Aaron's phone vibrated violently. A single message appeared. We have her. A second followed immediately. If you want the girl alive, come to the Old Royal Theatre. Bring evidence. The name beneath the message was unnecessary. Cassandra Vale. Evelyn's expression changed instantly. Mia. Aaron felt his stomach tighten. She's alive. For now, Evelyn said sharply. This is a trap. Lily stepped forward, panic rising. We can't go there. It's exactly what Marianne wants, us exposed in one place. But Evelyn was already moving. If Mia dies, Cassandra loses nothing, she said quietly. If we lose the evidence, Marianne wins everything. Aaron looked between them. We need a plan. Evelyn handed him a small encrypted transmitter. Upload the files the moment I give signal. Do not wait for confirmation. Lily grabbed her arm suddenly. If you walk in there, you won't walk out. Evelyn stared at her sister for a long moment. I already stopped expecting that years ago. Night fell over Leeds as they approached the abandoned Royal Theatre. Once a grand cultural landmark, it now stood hollow and decayed, its broken marquee flickering faintly in the wind. Inside, shadows swallowed rows of collapsed seats and torn velvet curtains. Mia was tied to the center stage beneath a single hanging spotlight. Cassandra stood beside her calmly, almost elegantly, as if hosting a private performance rather than an execution. You came, Cassandra said softly when they entered. Her voice echoed through the empty hall. Evelyn stepped forward slightly. Let her go. Cassandra smiled faintly. You misunderstand. She's not the leverage. From the darkness above the balcony, armed silhouettes emerged, too many to count. Laser sights drifted across Aaron, Evelyn, and Lily. Cassandra tilted her head. The leverage is all of you. Lily whispered in horror. We walked into it. Aaron reached slowly toward his pocket transmitter. Evelyn noticed Cassandra watching every movement. Tension snapped instantly. A gunshot cracked through the theater. Someone screamed. Lights shattered overhead. Chaos erupted as bullets tore through velvet seats and collapsing chandeliers. Aaron dove behind the stage stairs, losing sight of Evelyn as smoke filled the air. Mia cried out somewhere in the darkness, her voice swallowed by gunfire. And through the collapsing soundscape, Aaron heard Evelyn's voice one last time. Sharp, distant, and already disappearing into the chaos. Release it now. Smoke from the Royal Theatre still hung over Leeds like a stain the city could not wash away. Within hours of the shootout, coordinated silence spread through the streets again, but this time it was different. Too many people were missing at once. Too many witnesses never made it home. 2 journalists linked to Aaron Doyle's leaks were found dead inside a parked van near the docks. A former city councillor collapsed during questioning after sudden cardiac arrest. Entire departments inside Leeds Police shut down internal servers overnight. It wasn't chaos anymore. It was containment. Aaron moved through the city under a false identity, changing locations every few hours as unknown vehicles circled streets he had once walked freely. Every news channel repeated the same phrase, ongoing organized crime investigation, while carefully avoiding the words velvet circle. Even now, the truth was being shaped in real time by people powerful enough to rewrite it. Then, on the 3rd night after the theatre, Aaron received a message from an untraceable number. Evelyn is alive. The location followed. An abandoned church on the outskirts of Chapeltown. He arrived just before dawn. The building stood broken and forgotten, stained glass shattered and pews overturned as if the place had been abandoned in a hurry long ago. Rain leaked through cracks in the ceiling, dripping onto stone floors already darkened with age and neglect. Inside, Evelyn Voss lay against the altar steps. For a moment, Aaron didn't recognize her. Blood soaked through her coat. One arm was wrapped tightly in torn fabric, and her breathing came in shallow, painful intervals. But her eyes were open, focused, still dangerous in a way that pain hadn't erased. You shouldn't have come alone, she whispered. Aaron rushed forward immediately. You're bleeding out. I've been worse. He knelt beside her, checking her pulse with shaking hands. We need a hospital. No hospitals, she said sharply. Not anymore. Silence filled the ruined church as rain echoed above them. Aaron lowered his voice. Mia is gone. Cassandra vanished after the theatre. Everything's collapsing out there. Evelyn closed her eyes for a moment, as if weighing the cost of what remained. Then she spoke. There's something you still don't understand. Aaron hesitated. About what? Her breathing grew heavier, but her voice steadied with forced control. The businessman you saw in Chapter 1. Martin Holbrook. Aaron froze slightly. What about him? Evelyn stared upward at the broken ceiling, rain falling through fractured glass like falling memories. I killed him. The words landed without emotion at first, as if she had been holding them inside for years just waiting for collapse to release them. Aaron stepped back slightly. You were at the apartment that night. He was involved in Lily's transport route, Evelyn continued. He approved shipments. He signed off on movement logs. Girls disappeared because of him. Her jaw tightened. When I found proof, I didn't go to police. I already knew what police were. Aaron struggled to process it. So it wasn't random. No, Evelyn said quietly. It was calculated. A pause followed, heavier than rain, heavier than grief. Aaron's voice lowered. You framed it like revenge. Evelyn turned her head slowly toward him. It was revenge. Something in her tone cracked slightly. But it wasn't greed, she added. Not like they'll say in the reports. He deserved worse than what I gave him. Aaron looked at her carefully, realizing this was not justification, it was confession. Outside, Distant sirens echoed across the city. Evelyn suddenly reached for his wrist with surprising strength. "You released the files?" "Yes," Aaron said. "Partial. Enough to trigger raids." For the first time, something like relief flickered across her face. "Good." But it didn't last. Because even as she spoke, Aaron's phone began vibrating non-stop. Breaking alerts filled the screen. Police raid multiple locations. Velvet Circle investigation escalates. Maria Whitmore requested for immediate detention. Then, a final update appeared. Suspect Maria Whitmore not in custody. Last seen leaving private estate before warrant was served. Aaron looked up slowly. "She's gone." Evelyn's expression changed instantly. "Marianne doesn't disappear," she whispered. "She relocates systems." Another siren echoed closer this time. Aaron stood, realizing the entire city outside was now hunting ghosts while the real architect had already stepped out of reach. Evelyn tried to rise but failed, collapsing back against the stone. "She's not finished," she said weakly. "None of this is finished." Aaron watched the broken city light filtering through stained glass. And for the first time, he understood the terrifying truth. Leeds wasn't being saved. It was being reset. And Marianne Whitmore had already chosen what came next. Months passed, but Leeds never truly returned to normal. The city looked the same on the surface, same river, same grey skyline, same crowded streets, but everything beneath it had fractured beyond repair. The collapse of the Velvet Circle investigation had triggered a chain reaction no one could fully contain. Whistleblowers disappeared before speaking publicly. 3 senior officials died under unexplained circumstances. A former judge admitted to corruption on record before vanishing from protective custody overnight. Official reports called it post-investigation instability. People in Leeds called it something else entirely: silence. Aaron Doyle no longer worked as a journalist in any official sense. His name had been quietly removed from several media databases after lawsuits, threats, and internal pressure forced editors to distance themselves from him. He still wrote, still collected fragments of truth, but now it was done from hidden locations, through encrypted channels, under constant fear that each new revelation might be his last. And worse than fear was guilt. Because truth had not brought justice. It had only redistributed damage. Families of innocent women connected to the circle collapsed under public exposure, their lives destroyed by association. Some victims of trafficking were revealed only to be dismissed as criminals themselves due to corrupted records. Entire neighborhoods turned against each other, unsure who had been victim and who had been predator. Aaron stopped sleeping properly after the 4th month. He stopped answering calls after the 5th. He stopped believing in endings after the 6th. Mia Lawson resurfaced briefly in Manchester under a different identity, working in a small cafe and avoiding attention. She smiled less than before, spoke softly, and always checked exits before sitting down. Therapists called her trauma response severe but stable. In reality, she existed in a permanent state of distance from the world, as if part of her still lived inside Elysium's shadows. Sometimes, when the cafe was empty, she would freeze suddenly at the sound of high heels on pavement outside. And remember everything. Evelyn Voss never testified. Her trial was delayed repeatedly due to insufficient witness stability and ongoing security concerns. Officially, she remained in custody. Unofficially, few people knew where she was held at any given time. What mattered more was what she received while waiting. Letters. Always unsigned. Always precise. Some contained fragments of information only Marianne Whitmore could know. Others contained nothing but reassurance. "You are not forgotten." Evelyn stopped reacting to them outwardly after the 3rd month. But she never stopped reading them. Aaron learned this through a guard who owed him nothing but spoke anyway after too many drinks. The system around Evelyn was no longer law enforcement, it was containment. Then, one evening, Aaron received a file from an anonymous source. No message. No warning. Just surveillance footage. An airport terminal somewhere outside Europe. Clean glass architecture. Foreign signage. People moving calmly through security like nothing had ever happened in Leeds. And then, a woman appeared. Composed. Unhurried. Wearing a new identity as easily as a different coat. Marianne Whitmore. Alive. Unshaken. Unbothered. She paused briefly at a cafe counter, smiled politely at a staff member, and continued walking toward boarding gates like a woman leaving behind nothing more than a cancelled appointment. Aaron replayed the footage again and again, searching for any sign of panic, fear, or urgency. There was none. Only control. Only continuation. His hands went cold as the realization settled in. The velvet circle had not been destroyed. It had only shed its skin. And somewhere far beyond Leeds, Marianne Whitmore was already rebuilding it.